And the single deepest man for the Arkansas Razorback is wide receiver Joe Adams, obviously a speedster. Ed Cunningham, are you surprised that with the coin toss and the fact that the Aggies wanted to put their defense out there first?
A little bit. I think the idea, though, is with Ryan Mallett coming off a bad game, let's test him early and see if we can't get a turnover.
Do you agree with what I said in the open? We didn't get a chance to converse, but the team with the worst hangover probably is not going to win this football game.
Both coaches felt good about their weeks of practice, so we'll see.
Well, this is a kickoff. It goes 6 yards deep into the end zone, and Adams will not return it. So it gives us an opportunity to look, first of all, at the starting quarterback for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Ryan Mallett, 6'6", 238 pounds, leads the SEC in passing yardage and has so many records since coming to the University of Arkansas.
And we talked to him yesterday about the bye week. They had a week off after Alabama, and if he would have rather got back on the field, he said, yeah, but we got to work on a lot of the techniques, look at the mistakes we made in that game, clean those up. Sounds like he's really gotten beyond what happened against Alabama.
Ronnie Wingo is going to start at tailback rather than Niall Davis. Movement, as you could see. An offensive lineman came out of his stance. That's Ray Dominguez. And it's going to be a 5-yard penalty.
73, offense.
Tom Ritter, our referee today, the officiating crew from the Southeastern Conference. And I'll tell you, it is very, very noisy in this arena. It may not be quite filled, but the echoes are resonating from one end to the other. I can understand why Dominguez got confused. 1st and 15, and they'll go straight ahead with Wingo for a couple of yards, and that's about it. Lucas Patterson defensively.
Nice job by Patterson. Good penetration.
One of the things we also heard from Ryan Mallett yesterday, we have to run the football more. Same sentiments by his head coach. We'll see if that transpires today. Mallett, first throw of the afternoon, complete across the 25 and out to the 30, and with that second burst of energy, I think he may have picked up the first down. So let's take a look at the impact players following that gain of 12.
Well, that was Jarius Wright doing a nice job of picking up the first down. Another explosive player is Joe Adams, leads the country in yards per reception. Every game they've had a 100-yard receiver, have the Hogs. And Von Miller led the country last year. No sacks yet this year. Had a high ankle sprain in that first game. It's really slowed him down, and double teams also have slowed him down.
You know, a lot of people looking for number 40 every time the football is snapped. In fact, they run away from him on this play, and it's Niall Davis. He'll have 3. When you look at what he did last year, speaking of Von Miller, at this time last year, he already had 9 sacks. He finished with 17. And this year to have none, people are saying, what's going on? Well, a high ankle sprain,
it's a big deal.
And that's not an excuse, but it's plus the fact, as you said, so many people are looking for him, Ed.
Yeah, you have 17 sacks in 1 year. The next year, people are going to figure out how to scheme for you. A back, a tight end, whatever they have to do, they're going to put someone else over there to help their offensive tackle.
Blitz coming, gets by it nicely, and the ball thrown on the run at the 40. Complete, Adams, and Joe will step out at the 42. It's going to be a gain of 9, and it was Michael Hodges, number 37, who was applying the pressure.
And I think Hodges got a little over his toes. It's not exactly the most mobile quarterback in the world, maybe the tallest in Ryan Mallett, and Hodges just got too far over his toes. A nice job by Mallett of freezing him and bouncing outside.
So back-to-back first downs by the Razorbacks. Niall Davis breaks the tackle, breaks it up big down the sideline. At the 20, it is going to be knocked out of bounds at the 12-yard line. 45 yards, and look for a block by Terrence Frederick, number 7.
Well, you mentioned during the bye week them talking about running the ball more, and Niall Davis, 5'10", 220-pounder, has been a guy who started to get a lot more reps with the first team. A high tackle there by A&M. You go lower, you knock him out of bounds, but Niall Davis starting to separate himself some from that committee of running backs.
Broderick Green now comes into the ball game at tailback, and he is probably what you called their short yardage guy. Tough runner, weighs 248 pounds, and he gets it as a flag goes down.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Boy, that 40-second clock went fast. It didn't seem like it was running down.
It did not. Not much time went by before Coach Petrino sent Ben Cleveland out on the field. They're going to go with 2, maybe even 3 tight ends on this formation. And as they reset, that's exactly what they've got. Van Stuben, the fullback, from the running play, nothing. Maybe a gain of 1, and that's it.
Well, Tim DeRuyter, the first-year defensive coordinator, came over from Air Force, obviously doing a nice job of getting his crew ready. That was a complete shift of the strength of the formation, and A&M had all the time in the world to get their bodies over there so they weren't outnumbered. Good adjustment by A&M.
Second down and long. Niall Davis back in a tailback, but they'll throw it. And they've got it to Childs. And Childs first to the left and then back to the right, and he's inside the 10. It'll be third down, and they need the 2-yard line. Von Miller with his second tackle on this drive.
And this is, of course, Bobby Petrino calls his own plays, has ever since he's been a head coach. But it'll be interesting to see if Tim DeRuyter is going to bring pressure here. I don't think you want Mallett standing in the pocket, so I would bring at least 5, so 1 extra blitzer, and make Mallett get this ball out of his hands sooner than he wants.
A&M show blitz. They stay at home. Pass right over the middle is caught. Touchdown, Joe Adams.
Well, Arkansas has so much depth at wide receiver. Adams lined in the slot. Good move to the outside. He sticks his foot in the ground on Trent Hunter, the free safety. But that was a 3-man rush, so nobody was in Mallett's face.
Give Mallett credit where he placed the football. That safety was coming pell-mell.
Yeah, if he
threw it. That's right. If he let him, the safety probably would have knocked the ball down. Kick is up, and it's good. Hocker knocks it home, and he remains perfect. As you look at Mallett pacing the sideline, and that's a determined look on his face. This is the pass I'm talking about, just perfect. I told you just after the tease that we had on to begin the show, there are a lot of folks down here from Hog Country, and they have been calling the Hogs all morning long. In fact, they called them quite a bit last night at our hotel.
And everybody is going to be coming back here for several more years. A 10-year deal for Texas A&M and Arkansas to play in this building. This is year 2, so they're going to have a lot of fun visiting Arlington over the next 8 years.
Alex Tejada prepares to kick it off. He already has 6 touchbacks this season. This one is going to be returnable. Maybe a yard deep at the end zone, a swoop. And he will take it to around the 23-yard line. So it gives us an opportunity to talk about Gerard Johnson, the senior out of Humboldt, Texas. Leads the Big 12 with 318.5 passing yards a game.
That tough outing you were talking about at the top of the show against Oklahoma State. In talking to the coaches and everyone around, the one thing this young man doesn't lack is confidence, and his teammates rallied around him. They had a little extra prep time because that was a Thursday night game, and everyone thinks he's going to get over it rather quickly. And we're about to find out.
Christian Michael will open the game at tailback, and they'll give it to him. He'll have 7 on the play. That's Rudell Krim, the strong safety, coming up to make the tackle.
Christian Michael, very much like Niall Davis, 5'11", almost 220. Good power running there.
Well, the Aggies going to run a little hurry up here. Flag comes down, and I don't know if the hurry up got somebody in too big a hurry, but I have a feeling this is going to go against Texas A&M. Christian Michael, the ball carrier.
Now against Oklahoma State, despite all of those turnovers, A&M ran 106 offensive snaps. So they go very fast.
Let me ask you something. Coach talked with us about that. If they hadn't had all the turnovers, they might have had 130 snaps in that game, you know?
It's unbelievable.
Illegal shift on the offense. The players did not get set prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Tough mental error. Making it second and long, but
well, both offenses have kind of started off the same way. That maybe the crowd is a lot tougher on them down there than maybe we thought.
Prior to the snap, false start. 76 offense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Now it's Luke Jokel, left tackle. He is a true freshman, and he's going up against one of the better fronts in the SEC. As a matter of fact, this defensive line for Arkansas leads the SEC with almost 4 sacks per game, so a little jumpy.
He's from Arlington. You think maybe he's a little more hyper than everybody else for Texas A&M? I would imagine. Only a freshman. Second down and 14. Pressure off the corner. Pass is caught and out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Ryan Tannehill, who is the backup quarterback, is the wide receiver, is a deep punt return man, and also is a coach's kid.
And I think the way he fell, he did. He picked up the first down. Good throw by Johnson over the coverage. Tannehill goes up and makes a great catch. That was a good read by Johnson. And luckily for Tannehill, I'm not sure he knew where that stick was, but because he fell back with some momentum, picked up the first down.
Johnson will keep it on the ground and very short yardage. Time to look at a couple of more impact players, one from each team.
Now, Jeff Fuller, I mentioned that Texas A&M had 106 snaps on offense. He went every single one of them against Oklahoma State, unheard of for a wide receiver. And Jerry Franklin, if he leads the team in tackles again this year, he'll be the first Hog since 1960 to do it 3 seasons in a row.
Outstanding. 11 tackles 2 weeks ago against Alabama. Johnson, quick look in pass, got Fuller, blocker in front, and on what is called the jailbreak screen, he is going to be stopped just short of the 40, and that's a nice job by Arkansas, because one more block and that thing could have been into the wild blue yonder.
Yeah, Darius Winston was in coverage and did a good job trailing, because Fuller's running back towards the middle of the field. If he doesn't trail, I'm not sure that doesn't come out the backside and goes for a big gain.
Third down, line to make the 42. Cyrus Gray is the tailback. Johnson's going to run. Going to have the first down, plus about 5 more. And that's Anthony Leon, the senior out of Miami, who reaches out and gets an ankle to trip him up. Ed, how about your game plan for this one?
Well, because of the youth up front for A&M, I think they need to help in pass protection with running backs and tight ends. And for Arkansas, we've already seen Jokel make a mental mistake. If they're going to bring pressure, I would test that true freshman at left tackle.
Well, there's just going to be encroachment. I think it is. Alfred Davis got up and banged his hands together as if to say, my bad, because I really didn't see Patrick Lewis come out of his stance. Did you?
No. Dead ball, offside, number 51, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
I can tell you right now, Alfred Davis would not be a good poker player.
Yeah, you've got to fake it.
Don't ever admit immediately to the official, that was my bad.
Alfred had a nice sack in that Georgia game on second down on their last drive. Of course, finished up by Beckett that forced them to punt, and then, of course, the touchdown to win it on the next drive.
Kristen Michael, enough for the first down at the Arkansas 40-yard line. Wholesale changes for Arkansas defensively.
And Michael, a young man that they have been working with on his patience for the hole to open up. He's such an explosive back. Good cut back to the inside, but he stayed on his track until the last minute. You want the back to get up onto his blockers before he cuts.
Beckett back into the ball game, and this run, he is the man who makes the initial contact on Christine Michael. Beckett will get credit for the tackle. Gain of 3.
Arkansas rolls through with 3 running backs. Texas A&M basically with 2, Michael and Cyrus Gray. Right now it's been Michael the whole drive.
This is the 8th play of the drive. It started back at the 22-yard line. And now Johnson with an audible. Short drop. Ball is tipped at the line of scrimmage. He wanted Jeff Fuller. And Fuller was very closely guarded by Rumon Broadway.
Well, Johnson wanted Fuller the whole way. He was running a 5-yard hitch, and his eyes stayed there the whole time and allowed Beckett. As soon as the defensive line, they're reading the eyes of the quarterback just like the secondary, and Beckett wisely got his hand up and knocked it down. You can't look that way the whole time.
3rd down. They need the 30. Swoop, the intended receiver, just a little too far in front of him, and it'll be a kicking situation for Texas A&M. Their first of the afternoon, the first for either team, as Ryan Apperson comes out to kick it away. He's a freshman out of Keller, Texas. Deep man, Joe Adams, the young fellow who scored the opening touchdown for the Arkansas Razorbacks on their first offensive series. Here's the booth. Taking a bounce, almost getting out of bounds, and it wouldn't quite make it. Let's take a timeout. 37 yards on the kick. 7-0. Razorbacks lead
The
it.
AT&T. Rethink possible. And Nissan, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy.
You know, Ed, after looking at this billboard shot, now I know why the crew took over 3 hours to shoot this thing yesterday.
Had to get the lighting right.
By the way, this thing is 5 times larger than the locker room that they had in the old stadium. Certainly an icon for this franchise, the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Broderick Green comes into the lineup at tailback for Arkansas. Mallett on the opening series, 4 of 4, 39 yards and a touchdown. Intercepted at the 35. That's Frederick. Frederick down the sideline, and he will score. You're going to say out of bounds at the 2-yard line. I beg your pardon.
Frederick, the backside corner, trailing on Childs. And this is just a poorly thrown ball. I didn't see Mallett's arm get hit. I didn't see the ball get tipped. So I'm not quite sure if he puts air on that ball. Childs had a step and Frederick undercut it. That was just a poor throw by Ryan Mallett. Looked similar to the interception he threw against Alabama in the 4th quarter, the second of the 3.
So the Aggies have a 1st and goal at the 2-yard line. And the offensive coach is trying to make up their mind as to the player grouping, the personnel grouping that they want on the field. So let's take a timeout. 7-0, Arkansas.
Well, Ryan Mallett had an absolutely perfect pocket from which to throw. And as he drops back, you're going to see Childs coming across the screen with Frederick trailing. And if he's going to throw this ball, it's got to have air on it. He's got to throw it over the top of the coverage. Instead, he drives the ball and underthrows it. Frederick cuts right underneath of it. If he puts some air on that ball, because the safety, Trent Hunter, had to chase on the other side, Childs may have had a huge gain instead of an interception.
Well, they roll the pocket, and the pass thrown well over the outstretched arms of Christian Michael. Jermaine Thomas was the man with the cover, but the ball was thrown just way too far in the head. Frederick Quite an interception for him. He was playing the eyes of the quarterback all the way. Second down and goal from the 2. Michael straight ahead, and this is Rudell Krim, the strong safety, who will get credit for the tackle. It's a gain of about 1 yard. It'll be third down.
And Mike Sherman, who like Bobby Petrino calls his own plays, I would think Gerard Johnson, even though he's a big quarterback, is very mobile. We've already seen the quarterback draw pick up a first down. And now you have some bodies changing out. You have the tight end Prelo coming in. And Prelo, I would think, is going to be a decoy over here to the left. I would think Johnson's going to roll to his right. I don't think this is a running down.
Third and goal. Ball is thrown too high. It is fourth down. Lamothe, the intended receiver. And Jake Beckett with good pressure on the play.
Well, there was really good coverage. They went to Prelo on that side. He was covered, and they couldn't get back to Lamothe quick enough. And now, I agree. I think you do go for it on fourth down here. This doesn't feel like it's going to be a field goal game. But for this one, I would want Johnson to move, and I think he's better to his right than to his left.
Fourth down, Aggies will go for it. About 1.5 yards from the end zone. Touchdown, Christian Michael. Michael Lamothe, the tight end, with a really nice block on the play.
Well, this is a 2 tight end set with a fullback. This is old school. Straight downhill running out of the I formation. Good blocking at the point of attack.
Bullock, extra point, has got it. And with 5:27 left in the opening quarter, a touchdown apiece as we go to break. One more look. Christian Michael, big hole on the right side. Aggies tie it up. This is Ron Franklin along with Ed Cunningham. And we have seen so far just an even Steven match. There has been an interception. Ryan Mallett, after going 4 for 4 and throwing an absolutely perfect touchdown pass, couldn't have thrown it any better, and then he comes up with an interception. And it cost him 7 points.
And now if I'm the Aggies and Tim DeRuyter, their defense coordinator, I would bring a lot of pressure on this one. See if he's in his head a little bit. After that tough outing against Alabama, maybe get another one.
Bullock with the kickoff. Joe Adams from the 6. Spun off 2 tackles, not the third one, and he will barely make it to the 15. Well, tonight at ABC, the 23rd ranked Florida Seminoles take on the 13th ranked Miami Hurricanes. Some of the West Coast are going to see Southern California taking on Stanford. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines tonight on ABC, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. Aggies show blitz, then they stay at home. Broderick Green across the 20. A gain of very close to 6 yards as Coriel Judy is there to make the tackle. The starting left cornerback.
And what a difference a year makes for Texas A&M. Last year they were 105th in the country in total defense. In this ball game they were up 10-0. Ryan Tannehill dropped what looked like a short touchdown, and Arkansas ran off 30 straight and A&M packed it in. But this is just a different defensive bunch than what Arkansas saw last season.
Here comes pressure. Mallett runs away from it. Now scrambles and slides down at the 30-yard line. He will have the first down. Sean Porter with pressure on the quarterback, Ryan Mallett. You talked about a different group for Texas A&M. I can't help but think that every time I visit with Tim DeRuyter, the new defensive coordinator who came down from Air Force, his emotion and excitement is an infectious thing. Plus the fact the 3-4 defense he knows very, very well. Mallett going to go deep. Got one-on-one coverage. It is caught at the 20. And walking into the end zone is Hamilton. 71 yards.
personal foul, roughing the passer, on the defense, penalty is good, yardage is being enforced on the kickoff.
Mallett roughed after he got that pass away. And I mean, Cobi Hamilton, you hear the expression, he simply walked in. He did. He was like a stroll in the park in Texarkana, where he's from. Hocker to attempt the extra point. And he's got it.
Nice job by Mallett buying some time in the pocket. He had eluded DeMontre Moore, and this becomes one-on-one coverage. The safety had to roll to the other side, and Judy's in perfect position, but he goes to play the ball, and he was just, there's no way he could have done that. At that point, you have to make the choice, because Hamilton, a big body guy at 6'3", 210 pounds, is Sheilagy. You got to go and play through the body. But that was an excellent job by Mallett of stepping up into the pocket. And of course, Gerard Eddy hits him there late, but a good avoid of the rush by Mallett to be able to find Hamilton down the field.
Now, you saw the call after the play had been ruled a touchdown. There is a penalty now that will be stepped off on the kickoff, and rather from the 30-yard line, they're going to kick it off from what, the 45?
Yep. And you know, some teams in this situation, you would think, oh, just load up your kicker and kick it in, through the end zone, but a lot of times you might try a pooch down to about the 5, see if you can't get bodies around there and pin Texas A&M inside their own 10. But for Ryan Mallett, a nice bounce back. He had a bad throw on the last drive. He comes back, shows some good mobility in the pocket, steps up. Of course, we know that he has a wonderful arm and uncorks one to Hamilton. So you could talk about short-term memory all you want. It's nice to get a plus play on the ledger.
You know, Ed, also twice in this ball game, he has had somebody coming on him very quickly, and he just stepped aside, and the defender missed it. And that obviously was the key to picking up a 71-yard touchdown just a moment ago. This is Tejada, and he'll kick a very high spinner, and of course, at the back of the end zone, it will not be returned. Robert Flores, let's check with you in New York and an Alabama update.
Thanks. I'll be here all afternoon getting you caught up on what's going on across the country, starting with this Taco Bell studio update. South Carolina has never beaten a #1 team, but they are leading one today. Stephen Garcia to Marcus Lattimore has the #19 South Carolina Gamecocks up 7-3. Michigan has kicked a field goal. They lead the Spartans 3-0 at the end of one.
Robert, thank you. Our situation, 14-7. The Razorbacks on top, following a 71-yard touchdown strike. Aggies, quick pass. That's Fuller, right over the middle. Going to be good for about 6 yards, maybe 7. Jerry Franklin recording the tackle.
And Jeff Fuller, who's now A&M's all-time leader in touchdown receptions, was challenged by his head coach Mike Sherman. Said, hey, you're the best receiver on our team, but you can be one of the best in the country. Told him he needed to run better routes, get in better shape, work better on his blocking, and he really dedicated himself. Of course, that showed itself in last week's ball game.
Kristen Michael on the draw, spins off a tackler, and with that, going to pick up the first down. Has about 5 more yards. Tremaine Thompson, who's a junior out of Winnie, Texas, played at East Chambers High School. Tremaine, number 5, the free safety. 26 Texans on this roster for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Johnson will keep it after the play action, and it's going to be very close to 10 yards on the running play by him. Brian Jones.
You know, they brought Ryan Swope into the backfield. He's such a dynamic guy. Played running back in high school. They've switched him to receiver, but you're not sure what the formation is. He's a wide receiver. He comes over to running back, and you're not quite sure what they're going to be able to do with it.
Well, straight ahead with this running play. Good for 1 yard, and that's it. Arkansas is very active, interchanging those interior defensive linemen. DeQuinton Jones comes back into the lineup very quickly. They're trying to keep fresh faces in there. Also Alfred Davis, number 51. Johnson, good protection, throws it in the flat, and was it caught? No, they say incomplete. Nehemiah Hicks, the tight end, the intended receiver.
Well, you were mentioning all the bodies coming in. Willie Robinson, the third-year defensive coordinator, been here with Bobby Petrino. Good attempt, but of course the ball hits the ground. But Willie Robinson is the depth has gotten to a place where they finally feel comfortable being able to roll those bodies in. They couldn't do it the first year they were here.
Shovel pass, and the ball is going to be incomplete. Boy, I'll tell you, that was thrown so hard that could have been tipped up and could have been intercepted, which normally those kind of passes are not.
Yeah, I think DeQuinta Jones does a really nice job on the right guard. Watch him fight to the inside. He reads it, and it was just hard. Gerard Johnson could not feed it right to his running back because of Jones standing there.
3rd down and 10. Blitz coming from Arkansas. Johnson just going to throw it away. It'll be 4th down. Tenarius Wright with tremendous pressure. And Johnson has now missed on 6 of his last 7 pass attempts.
And a lot of it is because Arkansas, rolling in those fresh bodies you were talking about, has been able to get pressure on him. And that's really been the story. The only thing that's held this offense back for Mike Sherman is a lack of protection. They've given up 14 sacks in the first 4 ball games.
Apperson gets a low pass and a kick off the side of his foot, and now here comes a flag down. Going to go out of bounds at the 25-yard line.
Well, A&M has really struggled in their punt game. Epperson and Jared Jaruzelski have switched back and forth, and Mike Sherman has just not found who he can trust yet at punter. Of course, a bad snap didn't help.
Well, Arkansas got to be penalized 15 yards for face mask. Yeah, I started to say first he had to play shortstop before he could punt it.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look back at our Chick-fil-A drive recap.
Yeah, the only ones who have hurt Arkansas is themselves. The bad throw by Mallett, but a couple of good long drives. They've mixed in the run. They are perfect 6 run, 6 pass balance, which is something that play caller go half the distance to the goal on that penalty. But Bobby Petrino said during the bye week, we have to start getting the run game. You know, in that Georgia and Alabama game combined, they only ran for 117 yards, including 4 rushing yards in the 4th quarter against Alabama in a game that they led. And Petrino admitted, I kind of forgot about the run game because we trust our quarterback so much, but we've got to get that back in those tight games in the 4th quarter so we can melt some clock.
So they come to the line of scrimmage with a not very good field position. Ball resting at the 13-yard line. Davis breaks 1 tackle, then gang tackled as he gets across the 15. Ball is loose. The Aggies say they have it, but the official says no. He was down.
Now when you get around the ball, yeah, his forward progress is stopped. The ball did come out before he hit the ground, but I think that's the right call. Davis was stacked up. His forward progress had stopped. Good whistle by the officials. I think Mike Sherman is going to challenge this. The down and distance was.
Jarius Wright. Judy on the stop, and he'll give him forward progress what appears to be the 32-yard line. That's a gain of 13.
What an unbelievable move by Jarius Wright after he made that catch on Trent Hunter.
Jarius Wright, because they were really doubling up Alabama. Joe Adams and also Greg Childs had a bit of a problem with an injury. Jarius Wright had over 100 yards and 4 catches against Alabama and was a huge motivator for them offensively in that ball game. Blitz coming off the corner. Throws it to the near flat. Cobi Hamilton. And Hamilton, who scored the last touchdown, being hit and shoved back about 3 yards by Judy.
Well, and here, to me, this is a freebie down for Arkansas. Second, let's call it right at about a yard and a half. They've been running the ball well. Got 71 yards rushing. I think this is a play action, and you let your junior quarterback with big arm see if he can't hit one.
Well, they go straight up the middle. Big opening inside the 40. Broderick Green, and he'll have the first down, plus about 25 more. 24 total yards on the running play.
I think A&M did not align correctly on their defensive line. Watch the size of the gap to the left. The defensive end of that side was outside shoulder on the offensive tackle, and nose guard was shaded back to the other side, leaving Garrick Williams on a huge island. I think that was a misalignment by the Aggies.
So that is the end of the first quarter. 14-7 Arkansas, and the Razorbacks are driving. This is the first of 6 straight conference opponents that they play that have the week off before they play them. You believe that? Now we got a flag down. Someone moved.
I don't think Nick Saban believed it when he saw it.
Dead ball, false start, 45 offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
So in the first quarter of play, A&M got a break with the interception, or made their break, and then scored, tied this ball game at 7. But I mean, Arkansas, regardless of where they've been on the field, they have not been deterred. They've been sticking with their guns.
And I'd like to see Mallett, after that bad throw, come back and make a good throw down the field. And it seems like he's flushed that off the left front.
I'll tell you what, he just threw what should have been a second interception, and Dustin Harris just dropped it. Boy, that is hard to figure how he can throw so well and then come back and.
Well, this is something that they've fought with Ryan Mallett. The coaches have worked with. Remember, we had the bowl game last year against East Carolina, but when he gets out into space, he's getting hit as he's throwing, but he's back across his body. He's obviously he's a long body guy, and even though he's got Hodges draped on him, you can't throw that ball back to where you are and not put some zip on it.
Mallett, pressure on him, gets it away and has it complete. And that is Greg Childs' first catch for Greg this afternoon, I believe. Von Miller applying the pressure. Actually, it's the second catch by Greg Childs.
Well, the number that jumps off here for me is rushing yards for Arkansas. Coming into the game, they were averaging 103 yards per game. So obviously the bye week has done some good for that running game. Of course, it helps with Miles Davis and Broderick Green breaking off a couple of long ones.
Yeah, those two were good for 69 yards, and then the scramble by Mallett. Third down, they need to take it to the 26. Pressure again, and he's going to be sacked. And it's Von Miller. That is the first sack for him for the season. It came at the 14:08 mark of the second quarter of this game.
Well, he is so quick and just trying to get healthy with that bad angle. Watch him run right to the inside of Ray Dominguez. It's almost impossible when a guy is that quick not to have help on one side or the other.
He led the nation last year with 17 sacks.
And a lot of those sacks came when he beat guys to the inside. So what you have to do is give the tackle some help on the outside so he can trust that he can block the inside.
Breeding with the kick. And this is that knuckleball kick, and it's going to be caught. And I mean, you can hear the groan from the crowd at the 8-yard line. That was McNeil. I'm not sure I'd try to catch that thing or not. Let's take a break. The FBS. And what is the smallest? Well, the largest is Michigan Stadium, 109,901. And the smallest is the Kibbe Dome. That's in Idaho, 16,000.
Well, in this building, we were talking about the largest in the NFL. When you add in the standing room only, of course, FedEx Field, where the Redskins play, has more seats, but they can fit more bodies in this building.
That's a lot of T-shirts right there.
Make sure all the seats are lined up properly.
Rod Johnson hands it off after faking the throw, and it's Kristen Michael puts a head down and buries himself into the defensive back, and it'll be a gain of 6 yards. DeQuinta Jones defensively for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, and for Gerard Johnson, just 3 really tough ball games in a row. It's 3 of 12 today, but he's had 9 turnovers in the last 2 ball games. Of course, it's Florida International. He had 4 interceptions in 4 straight series, and I know he's trying to do a lot, but I think he's pressing a little too much.
Tannehill is in the ball game. Wide receiver to the left, and they throw a look in to the other side, and that's complete to Fuller. Ball is loose. Arkansas says they have it, and the officials, we wait for agreement from them. It is Arkansas football.
Well, he just let that ball get away from him there. Fuller's key. Runs a nice route, sits down, but never really tucks it away. And that was a nice finish on the play by Broadway.
Elton Ford is just right there, the benefactor.
Excuse me, that was not Broadway. That was
middle linebacker.
Yeah, that's Greg Gatson, a cornerback who came in and made the hit, but that shouldn't cause a fumble. That's
also, prior play is under further review.
I also thought that Jerry Franklin was right there as usual in the vicinity, making the hit.
But that hit by Gatson should not cause a fumble. It never. If you watch Fuller, he never tucks the ball away. He keeps it in between his 2 hands, and that's just sloppy ball. You see receivers all the time when they're practicing. They catch it and immediately tuck it underneath one or the other arms. That time, Fuller caught it, started running with it out in front of him, and then as he went to tuck it, he was tucking it late when the cornerback came to hit. But that's just something you've got to clean up, because that's not a hard enough hit to cause a fumble if you have proper ball control after the reception.
So the situation as they review the play, and here comes the result.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It was a fumble. First down.
So the situation, we have 7:06 to play until halftime. Arkansas with a 14-7 lead, and to add a score right here, a ton of momentum they could go in with at halftime.
And A&M is just playing with fire. I mean, I know Mallett's thrown an interception. You've made a couple of plays on balls, but A&M's offense is just not helping out this defense at all, and they're going to get burned here.
Dead ball, false start, 65, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, no, that's difficult because DeMarcus Love is a senior and was described by his head coach yesterday as a leader for 3 years on that offensive front. 8 penalties against Arkansas in the first half for a total of 53 yards. Niall Davis. Well, millions of people watched the family go from ordinary to extraordinary, and the adventure is just beginning. ABC's No Ordinary Family, all Tuesday, all new at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central. Arkansas with a 2nd down and 13 from the Aggie 40-yard line. They lead by a touchdown. Aggies with 6 men at the line of scrimmage. They bring the pressure, and the pass thrown in the flat. That's Hamilton, and he makes the catch. It'll now be 3rd down, and they still need, I believe, about 7 yards for the first down.
And that was a good read by Ryan Mallett. One of the things that the coaches have been working on is his adjustments to pressure. That time A&M had 6 players up around the line of scrimmage, but he knew he could not block the outside linebacker and threw a quick one to Hamilton.
Empty backfield. Mallett with 5 wide receivers. Here comes pressure, and they throw the jailbreak screen into the middle. Pass is caught, and then Hamilton spins back to the outside, and he got spun after he did the spinning. It's going to be a 4th down. And all right, let's see. I remember that the head coach said he would go from as far as, what, 53 yards on a field goal attempt.
Yeah, this is
Hocker.
Yep, and this is right where it is. This is right on the edge of Hocker's range.
I think what we're going to say here is about 49 yards rather than 50. Not quite to the 40. 49-yard attempt. Hocker is perfect on the year. 4 of 4. 2 48-yarders already. Good pass. He's got the distance. No, he doesn't. It is going to be short and wide to the right. The first miss of the season for Zach Hocker. Let's take a timeout. Score remains 14-7 Arkansas. Well, this is Coach Petrino in between plays during the timeout. And now remember, this is an SEC crew, but he has given them what for on all the penalties that have been thrown on movement by the offensive line.
And I think because A&M's going back on offense, he was talking about the offensive tackles for A&M moving their outside foot before the snap. See if he gets a call.
Well, the blitz came off the corner, and this running play by Michael is maybe a yard, and that's it. Tackle made by Jerry Franklin, the middle linebacker.
But A&M has dodged so many of their own mistakes, and the fact that they did not, are only down 14-7, is quite frankly unbelievable. It feels like it should be 21 or 28-7 right now.
Cyrus Gray in the ball game, and he lines up at wide receiver. Pass tipped, and then the ball hit the Arkansas defender in the headgear. Wow. Jerry Franklin was right there, and who was that behind him? Was that Jericho Nelson? Yeah.
Well, this Aggie offense, and let's not take away from Arkansas defensively. Arkansas is much better than they were last year, just like we were talking about the Aggies. But they're just continuing to harm themselves.
Willie Robinson is going to say to Jericho, I want you to use your head, but son, next time catch that football. Arkansas shows blitz, high pass. Johnson does a smart thing, but he did not cover the football up altogether. Now, was he going to lose this? It was around his legs, and he had not reached down to pick it up. Arkansas has the football. Tremaine Thomas will get credit for the fumble recovery. Yeah, and Mike Sherman can only look toward the ground. Demario Ambrose is the man who came in. Ball goes between his legs.
Matt Allen short arms it, and Gerard Johnson. I'm not so sure Johnson didn't injure his right arm. When he fell down, it looked awkward the way he landed on that arm and was not able to bring the ball in.
Ambrose is the man who totally took his body away from the football. That's a good defensive play.
I think that Gerard Johnson may have injured his right arm. He landed well. He's not going for attention, but it was a poor job of recovering the ball.
Davis. Niall Davis going to have a gain of 3. He'll take it inside the 20-yard line. And the smart thing that Arkansas is doing right here, we still have 4 minutes right now left in this half. You actually could help yourself not only by scoring, but scoring after you have used every available moment on that clock. Not giving the Aggies an opportunity to get back out with another play for the half. Roderick Green will take it inside the 15. Terrell on the tackle. And coming up, the Cooper Tires halftime report. 3rd down.
And we have not seen pressure from A&M consistently on 3rd down. But you mentioned earlier, I would not want Mallett just being able to stand in the pocket right now and pick up a receiver. Wow. Both of these offenses just can't get out of their own way, can they?
Dead ball, false start, 71, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Doesn't this feel like a first game? With just all the little mistakes.
The Arkansas coaches, you know, I mean, they're throwing their hands in the air. It's like, you know, we know better than this. We coach them better than this. And for some reason, both ball clubs have made so many offensive mistakes today. So now it's 3rd down and 9. Mallett throws it back, and it's incomplete. Broderick Green, the intended receiver. And the dangerous thing right there, that came very close to being a backwards pass, which you could pick up and run with.
And another dangerous throw by Mallett. As he was scrambling up in the pocket, he never went back and looked to Green until he was ready to throw it. If the coverage had rolled over, that could have been a pick 6 easily.
Zach Hocker, who missed a 49-yarder just a moment ago, about to attempt a 37-yarder. He's 4 of 5 on the season. And it's going to be a fake. The ball is on the ground, and it's recovered by Texas A&M. And it's Frederick who makes the recovery.
I'm not sure why you faked that. Just kick the ball. The way A&M is playing offensively, there's just no reason to do that. Take the points, make it 17-7. Flipping it over the shoulder.
Austin Tucker flips the ball back over his shoulder. Same play we saw at Nebraska last year, and the holder flipped the first one to a defensive back for Colorado who had come across trying to block the kick.
Yeah, you know, you've got a true freshman kicker. He just missed one, and now you're asking him to catch a blind flip by the holder. I think you just kicked that away.
You know my stance on that play anyway. I think it's dead. I think the man's knee is down. That's right. Running play, nothing. Swope is going to be tackled behind the line of scrimmage.
If I'm Arkansas, I start thinking about timeouts here. Clock starting to mount. You've got 3 of them. And A&M has just, well, they haven't been very good offensively. 104 total yards so far. Why not use a couple of these timeouts so your offense gets the ball back with some time on the clock?
Johnson, and now he just throws this one away. So it'll be 3rd down and 12.
Good coverage in the secondary. You know, speaking with Willie Robinson, the defensive coordinator for Arkansas, he was talking about how difficult it was that first year when this staff first got here, but he talked about all the guys that have been here, Franklin and Ambrose and all of these guys that have grown up together, have gotten more depth, and their coverage has been pretty darn good this first half.
Here comes pressure. The blow is delivered, and the pass just a little too long.
And Gerard Johnson took a hit right to the midsection. A nice blitz by Jerry Franklin. And he kind of favoring that right side. Watch Franklin come unblocked. Puts his shoulder right in the midsection. Johnson turns, and I think he took a shot right to his solar plexus and maybe knocked the wind out of him.
Well, Jerry Franklin is all over the place for the Arkansas Razorbacks. What a magnificent defensive player. Their catch is called for, and it's made by Adams. Well, tonight, 12th-ranked LSU faces a really tough road test in the Swamp against 14th-ranked Florida. College football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels on ESPN. That's 7:30 Eastern Time, and it's also available online and, of course, on your phone.
Yeah, and I think the SEC West is going to get awfully messy before this thing is over. South Carolina up big over Alabama. Who knows how that'll turn out, but LSU, if they can ever figure it out offensively, they've got the defense and the special teams to be in the mix as well.
Mallett, great protection, swings it out of the backfield to Wingo, 45-50. 45, bucks the defensive back and picks up 5 more yards. Robert Flores, let's check in with you in New York. You got an update again on the Crimson Tide.
That's right, Ron. #1 Alabama, #1 in the polls for school record 8 straight polls. They're losing here, though, to South Carolina. Greg McElroy does find Julio Jones for an 8-yard score, but they missed the PAT. Gamecocks still leading 21-9, less than 30 seconds to play in the first half.
Okay, Robert. 1st and 10, Arkansas pumped it. Now he's going to run with it, and he will be tackled after a gain of only 1. That's Gerard Eddy on the tackle. You know, I really think that's the way I would play Alabama. I'd put up 8 men in the box and say, beat me passing McElroy, but I'm not going to let those running backs gain 300 yards today.
We've seen what those two guys can do when given some space.
Pressure off the wings. Gets it out. Safety valve. Wingo inside the 35. That's enough for the Arkansas first down. And the clock will stop momentarily with 1:12 left in the half.
And with those 3 timeouts, you just have to be careful if you're Arkansas that something across the middle short of the sticks. Don't let that time burn. Use a timeout if it's not going to stop. There's no reason with 3 to let it burn.
Far sideline. The ball is caught inside the 10 by Greg Childs.
Well, this is where people get so excited about Ryan Mallett. Watch the top receiver, and that's Dustin Harris in coverage, and he just buzzes it right over his head. And Von Miller
is shaken up badly.
But what a nice job by Greg Childs. They have such good height at receiver. And that's a 6'3" Greg Childs going over a 6-foot Dustin Harris.
First down. Pass for the end zone. Wide open. Touchdown, Ben Cleveland. Keeping the touchdown close to campus. Ben is from Springdale. 6'4" tight end, 256 pounds.
Well, he just absolutely unseen by Sean Porter or the middle linebacker Garrick Williams. Both of them suck up thinking run, but you just have to know what your responsibility is. That's an easy touchdown for Arkansas.
Hocker to attempt the extra point. He's got it. Still perfect in extra points. So let's take a timeout. Short one, 30-second break. We'll be right back. Contemplate putting him in the ball game. This one returnable. This is Gray. Gray at the 35 and then gets out of bounds. So they've got 44 seconds left.
And 2 timeouts. And you've got a senior quarterback. I agree that it'll be interesting to see if Tannehill may not get a little time if Johnson doesn't start playing better. But right now, at 21-7, 44 seconds and 2 timeouts, Mike Sherman has to think eventually I've got to get something out of Johnson. Here's a guy who played so well for us last year, set just about every single season record. And with this type of situation, we've got to see something. We've got to at least get into field goal range.
There was a time last year when Johnson threw 242 passes without an interception. And just for some reason, for 2 games, he winds up with 8 interceptions this season. Really strange. Throws for the far sideline. And the ball is going to be incomplete, but there will be pass interference call. Jeff Fuller is the man that he wanted, and Darius Winston a bit undersized at 6 feet 185, and Fuller is 6'4", 220.
Well, Winston is just a sophomore, but he has to eventually come and find the ball. There is no such thing as face guarding in college football, but the reason that they get him for interference is he never looks back to fight. If he turns and goes and tries to catch that ball.
Pass interference, number 21, defense, 15 yards. Previous spot, automatic first down.
They would not call that. And because he never saw it, he could never make the adjustment, so that when Fuller went to adjust to it, he had to try to run through him.
Again, an empty backfield. 5 wide receivers. Blitz off the corner. Pass thrown complete. Swoop hit immediately and knocked out of bounds at the 43.
Now you're out at the 43-yard line. So you're looking, you need to get the 25-yard line is where they feel Randy Bullock, their kicker, is 100%. So you're looking at 18 yards. And I would think with 33 seconds and 2 timeouts, work the sideline, maybe save those timeouts. But if you can get down into the 25 range with enough time, because I think you need 7 here instead of 3.
Johnson steps up, gonna run it, has the first down and a lot more at the 30, and very wisely heads directly for the sideline with Thomas in hot pursuit. That is a gain of 13 yards. Tenarius Wright with some huge pressure.
Yeah, you're not quite in field goal range, so think about a draw or a screen to get yourself inside. They kick it here, but they're going to be more comfortable inside the 25. So a draw or a screen, I think you pick up 6, 7, and then I think that's going to give you 2, maybe 3 shots into the end zone. And with the timeouts, you don't even have to throw it into the end zone at that point.
Johnson safety valve, and because the ball was lofted, the defender, there is so much speed on that Arkansas defense. Wright is the man trying to defend it.
Oh, what a bad job by Texas A&M. Gerard Johnson was just lost. Mike Sherman was screaming for a timeout. That took almost 5 seconds to get that clock killed.
So 11 seconds on the clock.
You know, you have to allot between 5 and 7 seconds per play. So you figure you're going to get 1, maybe 2 more plays. But of course, you cannot risk.
They're going to put some time back on the clock. The one thing, and he was trying to feather the pass, but he threw it so high and it took so long to come down, it allowed the defenders to be all over the back who caught it. And I'm not suggesting that you just burn him up with a red hot pass, but a little bit quicker, because you've got a team that runs so well east and west. Arkansas is just that.
And they got a little lucky that Jerry Franklin missed that tackle, a guy who doesn't miss a bunch of tackles. But this is the right, putting the clock back 3 seconds is correct, because Mike Sherman was calling timeout. And of course, in college football, you can get a timeout from the sideline. But I don't think you're comfortable yet with the field goal kicker.
So 2nd down and 11. 14 seconds left until halftime. Arkansas 21-7.
Timeout, Arkansas.
Johnson steps up, throws far sideline. He's got single coverage out there. Touchdown, Jeff Fuller. And give credit to that very young Texas A&M offensive line. They gave him the extra time that he needed, because Fuller, that's a long developing play, quite frankly. Extra point is up and good by Bullock.
Well, watch what Jeff Fuller does here, where he slows down a touch as the ball is in the air. And as Winston turns, watch the gear right there. As soon as Winston turned,
he never caught the ball. I mean, never found the football.
No, and remember, it was Winston who got called for the pass interference where he didn't turn before, and this time he got caught peeking. Great protection, as you mentioned, but Fuller, you teach receivers all the time, and this is one thing that Mike Sherman talked with Fuller and his dad, Jeff Fuller Sr., who's a former Aggie, about during the offseason. You need to be a better route runner. That there, I know it's a nuanced thing, but on a go route, you don't want to run full speed until the ball is in the air. The defensive back feels like, okay, I'm stride for stride, I can go peek it. As soon as he goes to peek, you accelerate to run under the ball, and he got great distance between himself and Winston on that touchdown.
For all the Aggie followers that are watching this ball game, I say good for Gerard Johnson, because he completed his first 2 passes of the ball game today, and since then he has had a very rugged run. That right there just before halftime may be exactly what was needed to get his head right.
Well, and your best overall receiver, Fuller, came through, ran a really nice route. He threw a good ball. He got good protection. Something positive. Let's not forget, A&M gets the ball back to start the second half.
This one's on the ground and picked up at the 25-yard line. And the return, as they continue to stretch it out, is going to take us, I believe, to halftime. Well, the special teams still kind of conversing with each other out on the field. And now everybody heads for their respective locker rooms. Van Stuman is the man who took the kickoff and got it back to just across the 40-yard line. But for Jeff Fuller and Gerard Johnson, a huge makeup of what had not been going right in the first half. Take a timeout as you look at the Aggies in Arkansas headed for the locker room. 21-14 our halftime score, Arkansas.